Hey everyone, welcome to New Testament Exegetical Explorations. My name is Dr. John Anthony Dunne, and I'm really excited to be diving into this course and this material with you over the duration of the semester. In this initial video, what I really want to do is introduce the course, help you kind of get your bearings and feel comfortable with what we're going to be doing together. But I thought, of course, I'd also introduce myself. So a little bit about me. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada originally, so I like to say that my sense of what's normal and mundane is calibrated to Las Vegas. After I finished high school, I went to Biola University and Talbot School of Theology, which is in Southern California, studied biblical studies, New Testament, Old Testament, and all of that. Some of my hobbies, actually, when I was in high school and college, I was in a couple metal bands. And so I'm a guitar player, really enjoyed playing shows, writing songs. It was one of my favorite things. In fact, what I always thought I wanted to do was be a rock star. So this is quite a different path in life for me. God had other plans, right? You can see this little clip, if you like. It's a GIF of one of our band's shows at one of the venues in Southern California. You can see me there in green next to the lead singer playing the guitar and rocking out. So that person is still there within me, but I sort of restrain that metal self with bow ties now. I'm a big fan of food, and in fact, I really enjoy like food competitions. I don't do them as much anymore, but this is one that I did. It was like a burger challenge, and I was in Scotland where I was studying at the time. You could see the normal burger that my friend is holding compared to the challenge burger, and because we were taking these silly photos, I actually lost the competition because it was a 45-minute challenge, and I didn't realize that it started when they handed me the burger. I thought it started when I started eating, and so I literally had the last bite in my mouth when the guy called time, and I was so frustrated because I thought I had like 5 minutes left. So that was lame, but anyways, I finished it, but my picture's not on the wall, so that's pretty lame. I'm also a big sports fan. So because I grew up in Las Vegas, I was a free agent sports-wise, so I rooted for Bay Area teams, the San Francisco 49ers and the San Francisco Giants for football and baseball. But of course, in 2017, we got our first professional team. We got a hockey team, the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And so I'm a huge fan. My dad and I, we just went to a game a few weeks back, which was a lot of fun, and we won. So that was brilliant. It was my first time seeing a professional sport team play in the city that I grew up in, which was just a fun experience for me. I'm a big fan of hiking. My favorite hike that I've ever done is in Norway. It's called Preikestolen, and it's near Stavanger. Maybe some of you have been. Sometimes it's called Pulpit Rock. You can see it kind of looks like a pulpit, actually. It's sort of this boxy rectangular shape. It's beautiful. There's this fjord there. It's just amazing. So I actually loved it so much that I did it twice. And I hope I can do it once more because it's just amazing. And if you ever get a chance to go to Norway, I highly recommend this hike. It's fantastic. I'm also a Tough Mudder, which if you don't know, it's this kind of like half marathon with a bunch of obstacles, and you get electrocuted, as you can see there with that picture there. That's kind of the finale. As you're walking through the finish line, you have to go through all these live wires. It's insane, but it's super fun if you like that kind of challenge. I've been to Hogwarts. I have actually been to both Hogwartses, the one in Orlando and the one in LA. Huge Harry Potter fan. I could say more about that. I've also had a proper Turkish shave in Turkey. So that was a great experience for me. I was nervous, as you can see, that I was going to get Sweeney Todded the whole time. Did not happen, thankfully. I'm trying to guard my neck there in that one picture. But it was a great experience, and I had a lot of fun with that. So I did my doctoral studies at the University of St. Andrews, which is in Scotland. It's the oldest Scottish university, third oldest English-speaking university. It was a wonderful experience. You can see this image of me. This was basically my backyard. This is the cathedral ruins from the 12th century. Just below where I'm standing was my office. So it was just this wonderfully scenic space to be inspired and to do research. While I was there, I worked with Professor NT Wright. This was one of our birthday celebrations. Professor Wright and I and my colleague Keith were all December birthday babies, so we had birthday celebrations together, which was a lot of fun. Professor Wright oversaw my research on Galatians, and I was thrilled to be able to honor him with a Festschrift, which is basically a book that celebrates a scholar kind of towards the end of their career, which you can see this picture of my family and I in Denver in 2018 when we surprised him with this, which was a really great moment. So I graduated in 2016. Looks like I graduated from Hogwarts, which was just super fun. I love our regalia. My parents came out, which was lovely. It was their first time in Scotland, so I had a blast showing them around. So my family includes two brothers and a brother and a sister, two siblings, brother and a sister. They're both married. They both have two kids. I have three nieces and a nephew. Here's a recent Thanksgiving photo of us. And so I love being able to see them. We're very spread out. We're in every continental time zone of the United States. And so getting together is tough, but it's great when we get a chance like Thanksgiving here. So it was a lovely time. Last thing I'll say real quick is that I am a podcaster. I have a collaborative podcast that I'm a part of. I edit and co-host called The Two Cities. It's a theology culture podcast, also focuses on discipleship. And we have different guests on, talk to authors about their new books, etc. It's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in podcasts and you like theology podcasts, maybe check it out. So that's me. So I teach here at Bethel Seminary, Associate Professor of New Testament. I've been here since 2017. I also direct the Doctor of Ministry program. So you can see my email, my phone number there. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out and don't hesitate there. So enough about me. I want to introduce the course now just a little bit to, again, get our bearings. So I want to begin by saying a bit about the syllabus. So let's just first acknowledge kind of what this course is relative to another course. So this is NT518, New Testament Exegetical Explorations. And this is different from NT516, the New Testament Survey course, in terms of depth and breadth, right? In the survey course, what you're really trying to do is we're trying to say a little bit about a lot, right? We're trying to say enough introductory stuff about most, if not all, of the New Testament texts, right? In this course, we want to go deeper on select texts. And the ones that we've chosen for this particular course is Mark, Galatians, Romans, and Revelation. So we're going to dive deeper into those four texts and talk about exegesis, talk about different approaches to exegesis as well related to those four texts. So that's kind of what we have in store. So now I want to mention our textbooks here really quick. The first one is by Frank Thielman. It's a Theology of the New Testament. This text, what's nice about it is it's got chapters on every text of the New Testament as well as some additional essays, and it provides kind of synthesis. So what's interesting about this text, as we're going to be reading it throughout the semester, is it's kind of building upon exegetical work and synthesizing that. We'll say more about that in different lectures and as we move on throughout the semester. But this is a text that we're going to be reading together, select portions of it that pertain to what we are doing in this class throughout the semester. But the course is really broken up into four parts. And for each of those four parts, we have a separate textbook. The first one that I'll mention, and this is not alphabetical order, this is the order in which we're going to read them. The first one that I'll mention is by Matthew Thiessen, Jesus and the Forces of Death. So we'll be reading this while we're engaging Mark's Gospel. And Jesus and the Forces of Death is a really interesting text. It's primarily kind of challenging this idea that Jesus was not really interested in ritual purity, that Jesus was somebody who dismissed these things. But actually what this book does is it highlights that as intuitive as it sounds, Jesus was very Jewish, that he had Jewish scruples and that he had a Jewish sense of purity. So that's going to be an interesting book for us to engage while we're thinking about the Gospel of Mark together. The next text that we have is John Barclay's Paul and the Power of Grace. This is a wonderful text. It's really a summary of a bigger text that he wrote called Paul and the Gift. That's a 600-page book. We don't have time to read it, but the insights of it are so wonderful. I think it's frankly the best New Testament biblical studies book written for quite some time, really since E.P. Sanders, in terms of paradigm shifting. Just a fascinating, intriguing book. So it's wonderful that we have this summary, that we can get the main gist and highlights of what he has done in that bigger study. So we'll be reading this while we are looking at Galatians. It is a little bit broader than Galatians. It has a handful of chapters on Romans, but that's nice because from there we will segue into Romans, and that brings us to our next textbook, Beverly Gaventa's When in Romans. So this text is the shortest one that we'll be reading, and it is focused on Romans, but what it really is it's a kind of summary of her kind of theological reflections on the text of Romans. She's been writing a commentary, an exegetical commentary in the New Testament Library series for quite some time. It's not out yet, and so what When in Romans is it's kind of like a signpost of some of the key theological insights that she's going to demonstrate later on in her commentary. So kind of the reverse of Barclay's, where Barclay did this work and summarized it. Here, Gaventa is kind of giving us some signposting of where that larger project will sort of take us later on, which is kind of nice. And then the last textbook that we have is Reading Revelation in Context. Of course, we'll be reading this at the end of the semester when we're digging into Revelation. What's great about this textbook is each chapter is written by a different author. So on the front page, you'll see the full list of everybody who contributed to this book. And each chapter takes a portion of the text of Revelation and reads it alongside another ancient Jewish text from the contemporary period. And it reads them together to kind of show the historical, cultural, literary background of what Revelation is doing. That's why it's called Reading in Context. Fascinating book, will be really helpful for us. So we'll be reading that together. These three guys are the editors of that text. But like I said, it's got a full list of contributors. Each chapter has a different author. Now the assignments. We have a couple of different assignments. Everything that is to be submitted is ultimately due at the end of the week. And weeks end on Mondays, except for the final week, it ends on a Friday. But weeks typically end on a Monday. So everything is basically due Monday at midnight. Last week, Friday at midnight. That's basically how it goes. Let me say quickly first about our late work policy. Basically, for every day late, there's a 5% reduction. After the 10th day, the assignment won't be accepted any longer. So we want to make sure our work is turned in on time. Next, quizzes. Over the course of the semester, each week we will have a quiz. These quizzes are open book. They're not non-cumulative. They're just focused on that week, and they're primarily about accountability. Did you do the reading? Did you watch the lectures, etc.? It's nothing really more than that. So quizzes is kind of a misnomer, to be honest, but it's really just a way of just checking in. Did you do this work? And that's it. Okay. So that's what we have for the quizzes. The next assignment is we're going to be doing these forum discussions on Flipgrid. Flipgrid is an audiovisual format that allows us to upload recordings of ourselves all through the app or the website. The interface is really easy to use, and I do have some technical instructions in the syllabus if you need that help. But it should be pretty intuitive and straightforward. Of course, ask questions if you get stuck or have any trouble. But what we're going to use Flipgrid for is what I'm kind of calling show and tell discussions. Basically, you'll pick an article of your choosing. There are some parameters. Be sure to take a look at the syllabus, the description of the assignment, as well as the parameters on pages 7 to 8. There are some parameters here, but basically you're going to choose an exegetical article that you are interested in. You're going to read it. You're going to think about it, and then you're going to upload a video sort of explaining what this article is arguing, what its exegetical arguments are. We'll talk about exegesis and how to discern that later on. But you'll upload a video of yourself kind of pinpointing like what is this article doing? How is it advancing its argument? How is it using the text? What's its methodology, etc. And then provide some comments of evaluation. And so each time we do this, we'll do this 4 times in the semester. Each time we do this, you'll upload a video of yourself doing this, and you'll comment on other people's posts about the articles that they read. So it'd be a nice way for us to hear about other scholarship that's out there. So that'll be a fun discussion thing that we'll do throughout the semester. Another thing that we'll be doing is we'll have a couple of weeks where we won't have pre-recorded lectures. Instead, we will have a Zoom meeting, and we will select a time. We'll have a special guest that's going to join us, and that meeting is really going to be all about question and answer, exegetical question and answer with our special guest. And each guest is going to be an expert on, Mark, Galatians, Romans, Revelation, respectively. And we'll talk about the topics that are germane to that week, but they're going to be kind of distinct from each other. And this is, like I said, in lieu of a pre-recorded lecture. Now, if you're not able to attend, if you're not able to make it, we will record these meetings and you can watch them on your own time and then respond to a prompt that we have. So attendance, participation is required. If it doesn't fit your schedule, that's okay, but we will ask that you do watch it and respond to a prompt later on. So that's what we're doing with the Zoom participation. And then our last kind of main assignment here, the main kind of bulk of what we're doing are exegetical book reviews. So each of those 4 texts that are specific to the New Testament text that we're reading this semester, we're going to do book reviews. We're going to summarize what's this book doing. We're going to evaluate like how do we perceive the strengths of this book, the weaknesses of this book, etc. But I call it an exegetical book review because in that evaluation of the book, what we're going to do as well is we're going to select one of their exegetical treatments and dive deeper into it, do some of our own exegetical work, read some commentaries, some articles, and basically provide a more robust evaluation of their exegetical treatment of a singular text. It's got to be discrete, no more than 10 verses, preferably quite a bit less than that. But their exegesis of a particular passage, whichever one most interests you, it could be because that passage is most interesting to you or because their treatment of it was most interesting to you. You might think it's wrong-headed. You might think it's really innovative. Whatever the case may be, you're going to dive deeper into that exegetical treatment. So that's why it's called an exegetical book review. We're going to summarize and evaluate like a typical book review, but we're going to go deeper on a selected exegetical treatment. Okay, so those are our assignments. The last thing I want to say is about assessment. You'll notice if you go to the last page of the syllabus, page 12, that there's a self-graded rubric. Basically, with each of your exegetical treatments or each of these exegetical book reviews, you are going to provide your own assessment of your work as the last page of your paper. Each time you submit the exegetical book review, you're going to do your own assessment. We're going to take your assessment and provide our feedback based upon your own assessment of your work, acknowledging where, yes, you've rightly understood where your paper fits within the rubric. And you can take a look at that and see the categories, et cetera. We will then, modify accordingly if we feel like the grade needs to be adjusted. But that's how it's going to work. You're going to provide your own self-grading first, and then we will comment on that and then offer the official final grade. So the TA for this course is Taylor Patz. She's a math student, and you can see her email there if you have any questions you'd like to address to her. If you want to include both of us on an email, feel free to do that. Just a couple final items here. About extra credit, I don't have an extra credit policy. There's no extra credit on offer. Basically, if at any point you feel like you would benefit from extra credit, what I would suggest is putting in extra work into the remaining assignments as opposed to actually pursuing extra credit. So there's no opportunity for extra credit because that actually reduces the importance and the value of the assignments that we do have. So please keep that in mind. We want to just do better work on what remains. Another thing I'll say about personal agency, and so this is in the syllabus, just to say that, you have the ability to be assertive. You can ask questions. You can engage us. So please know that you have that agency, and that I am happily inviting you to engage me on anything related to the course. So please feel that sense of agency. And the last and final thing is, if you look at the top of the Moodle page, under the announcement link, you'll see a forum called Virtual Cafe. This is really an informal space. It is for you to use however you like. If you've got a really great meme that you want to share, post it there. A really great TikTok or YouTube video, post it there. You think the class would enjoy it. Doesn't have to be terribly relevant. Whatever you like. If you have prayer requests, post it there. If you want to get together and, have conversations about the book you're reading before you finish up your book review, post it there. Say, hey, I want to get together over Zoom, or if you're in the same area, grab coffee or something. That's a great opportunity for students to connect with each other. So please make use of that if you like. So that's all I have. I hope that this helps kind of orient you to the course and what we'll be doing this semester. Of course, if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out. And again, I look forward to engaging you all this semester in this course. Cheers.